The riders didn't wait for nightfall. They never did, because fear worked better when the sun was still watching. The heat sat low over the Montana Valley, thick, stagnant, pressing against the earth like a warning that had nowhere left to go. Silas felt it before he saw them, that shift in the air, that quiet tightening behind the eyes. He stood at the north fence line, pliers heavy in his hands, rusted wire cutting into skin already split open. The ground beneath his boots was cracked wide, starved, aching for rain that hadn't come in 3 summers. The fence leaned where the soil had shifted, cedar posts tilted like tired men refusing to fall. This wasn't just a boundary. It was the last thing the bank hadn't touched yet. The hoofbeats came slow, measured, not hiding. Silas didn't turn right away. Men who came like that wanted to be seen. 4 riders crested the ridge, black shapes against a bleached sky. They rode easy, confident, paid confidence. Silas spat into the dust, then finally turned. "Fence looks tired," the lead rider called out. Silas didn't answer. He kept twisting the wire, metal rasping, hands steady. "Bank sent us to check on progress," the rider continued. "Seems you're falling behind." Silas felt the land listening. Every sound carried. Every word mattered. "This is a private lease," Silas said finally. The rider laughed, not surprised. "Lease is paper," he replied. "Iron decides what stays." The other riders spread out, slow, intentional, not attacking yet. That's when Silas noticed them, May and Leanne, standing at the edge of the pasture, too still, too close. Silas's jaw tightened. "Go back to the house," he said without turning. They didn't move. May's eyes were locked on the riders, sharp, measuring distance. Leanne's eyes were on Silas, wide, pleading. The riders noticed them then. Smiles shifted. Interest sharpened. "Well now," the lead rider said. "Didn't know you had company." Silas felt something cold settle behind his ribs. May stepped forward, just enough to be seen. "This land isn't for sale," she said. The rider tilted his head. "Everything is," he replied. Leanne flinched. Silas saw it, saw fear ripple through her like heat over stone. "Fence won't hold," another rider muttered. "Neither will he." That was enough. Silas dropped the pliers. Metal hit dirt. The sound carried. "You're trespassing," Silas said, standing tall now, hands empty, visible. The lead rider's horse danced under him. "You sure you want to say that?" he asked. "4 of us." "1 of you." Silas didn't look away. "Doesn't matter," he replied. The rider studied him then, really looked, saw the scars, the stillness, the way Silas didn't reach for a weapon. Not fear, choice. "This isn't over," the rider said finally, reining his horse back. No, Silas answered. It isn't. The riders turned, dust rising behind them. They didn't leave fast. They left knowing they'd be back. Silas watched until they disappeared over the ridge. Only then did his breath leave him. May stepped closer. They'll return with papers, or fire, she said. Silas nodded. I know. Leanne swallowed hard. You can't fight them alone, she whispered. Silas looked at the fence, bent, damaged, still standing. Tonight, he said, we make it hold. The sun dipped lower, shadows stretched, and the valley waited. Because out here, the land didn't care who was right, only who stayed standing. The riders disappeared over the ridge, but the sound of them didn't leave. Leather, iron, confidence that expected obedience. Silas stood where they had been, listening to the empty space like it might confess something. May walked the fence line, counting posts, testing wire, measuring distance the way fighters measured rooms. They weren't scouting cattle, she said. They were scouting you. Silas bent back to the wire, hands rough, steady. They know what I've got, he said, or what I don't. May shook her head. They know you're alone. Leanne hovered behind them, arms folded tight, eyes moving from horizon to Silas's hands, as if she could keep him from breaking by watching hard enough. The sun dragged lower, heat bleeding out of the valley, replaced by the thin bite of night. Coyotes would start soon. Men like those riders liked the dark. Silas hammered a staple, then another. The fence took shape again, not strong, but stubborn, a refusal. May crouched near a post, voice low. They'll come back, she said, with paper first. Then fire. Silas exhaled. The bank. May nodded. The bank doesn't want land. They want silence. Leanne stepped forward. What happens if they take it? She asked. If they take the house? Silas didn't answer, because he knew, and because saying it would make it real. I won't run, he said finally. May looked at him, hard. This isn't about running, she replied. It's about surviving long enough to choose. Leanne swallowed. Can we leave? She asked. Just until... No, Silas said, firm. The word surprised all three of them. If I leave, he continued, this land dies. Fence goes down. Then everything dies with it. May studied him, not judging, assessing. You know they'll test you again, she said. Silas nodded. I'm counting on it. He handed Leanne the canteen. When my hands shake, he said, you don't let me stop. Leanne took it, hands trembling, but she didn't drop it. May watched the exchange. Something unreadable crossed her face. Not jealousy, calculation. They worked in silence, wire singing, posts groaning. The fence rose inch by inch. Not protection, defiance. Then came the sound, hooves, distant, slow, unhurried. May stiffened. They're early. Silas didn't look up. They want to see if we panic. Leanne's breath hitched. What do we do? Silas paused, lifted his head. Nothing, he said. Yet. The riders stopped just beyond sight, close enough to be heard, far enough to stay safe. A voice drifted across the flats. Working late, Hale. Mocking, patient. Silas straightened, stepped away from the fence, hands open, visible. The work don't stop, he called back. Laughter followed, then silence again. Minutes passed, then more. Finally, hoofbeats retreated. May exhaled. That was a warning. Silas nodded. And a promise. He went back to the wire, movements slower now, more deliberate, because he understood something clearly. They weren't here for land anymore. They were here to see how far he would go to keep it. Night fell fully, stars sharp overhead. The fence stood, unfinished, but standing, and in the dark beyond it, men were already deciding how much blood it would take to make him step aside. The lantern came out after midnight, not because they needed light, but because the dark had started listening back. Leanne carried it, hands tight around the handle, flame shaking with her breath. Silas didn't tell her to put it down. He watched the way she held it, the way fear didn't stop her from standing. May moved ahead of them, shadow first, body low, eyes searching the ground where moonlight broke. They'll circle, she whispered. They want us tired. Silas nodded. They already got that. The fence was almost closed now. One final gap, one final post. That's where they'd come, always where something wasn't finished. Leanne lifted the lantern higher, and that's when the first shot cracked the night. Not aimed, not yet. A warning round, thrown into dirt. The flame jerked, nearly went out. Silas moved fast, hand closed over Leanne's wrist. Down, he hissed. She dropped, lantern rolling, light spinning across wire, posts, faces. 4 riders broke from the dark, not rushing, not hiding, men who knew they were expected. May drew first, steel whispering free. Silas stayed still, hands open, visible. The lead rider smiled. Evening, Hale. Voice smooth, too calm. You fixin' fences now, or building excuses? Silas didn't answer. Silence was a weapon if you held it long enough. The rider's eyes slid past him, found Leanne crouched in the dirt, found May standing like a wall. Didn't know you had company, he said. May stepped forward. They leave, she said, or you do. The rider laughed. That's not how this works. He nudged his horse closer. You got debts, Hale. Paper says so. Paper always wins. Silas finally spoke. Paper don't hold ground. His voice was low, flat. It just tells you who bleeds first. The rider's smile thinned. You threatening us? Silas shook his head. No, I'm explaining." The rider tilted his head. "Bank don't want you dead. They want you gone. But accidents happen." May shifted weight, ready. Leanne's breath came sharp behind them. Silas felt it. The pull. One woman built for holding ground. One built for believing something better existed. And him standing between. The rider lifted a hand. That's when the second shot came. Closer, deliberate. Hit the post beside Silas's head. Wood exploded. Splinters burned his cheek. Silas moved, fast. He grabbed the lantern, hurled it. Fire shattered against dirt, flame blooming wide. Horses screamed, men swore. Chaos ripped open the moment. May fired, low, clean. A horse went down, screaming. One rider hit the dirt hard. Silas closed distance, hammer in hand. Not a gun. Bone cracked. A man howled. Leanne scrambled back, heart hammering. She saw Silas then, not breaking, not hesitating, becoming exactly what the land demanded. The riders regrouped fast, too fast, professionals. "This ain't worth it," one shouted. The lead rider spat. "Not tonight." They pulled back, dragging the injured, cursing, threats thrown over shoulders like promises. "We'll burn you out. You hear me, Hale?" Silas stood in the firelight, chest heaving. "Bring matches," he called back. "I'll bring dirt." The riders vanished. Silence slammed back into place. The fire died. Only smoke and breath and shaking hands. Leanne dropped to her knees, crying, silent, broken. Silas went to her, knelt, didn't speak, just rested his forehead against hers. May watched them, something heavy shifting in her chest. She hadn't expected him to choose restraint or tenderness. The fence stood, barely. The night wasn't over, and none of them believed it would be the last visit. But the line had been drawn, not in wire, in blood and fire, and the choice to stand. The fire smell lingered after they were gone. Burnt oil, hot dirt, fear, pretending it was over. Silas didn't sleep. Neither did May. Leanne tried, curled near the stove, lantern pulled close like a child's toy. Silas sat at the table, hammer beside his hand, blood drying in the cracks of his knuckles. He kept listening for hooves, for laughter, for the sound that meant they had come back to finish it. Morning came, thin and gray. No birds, no wind. That scared him more than the night. May walked the fence again, counted damage, counted time. "They'll bring paper next," she said. "Sheriff, writ, something clean." Silas nodded. "And when that fails, fire," May finished. Leanne stood in the doorway. "You can't keep doing this," she said, voice soft, breaking. "They'll kill you." Silas looked at her, not angry, not defensive. "Maybe," he said, "but not for nothing." A horse appeared near noon. One rider, sheriff's colors. Too early, too calm. May stiffened. That's the bank's man. Silas stood, wiped his hands. The sheriff didn't dismount, didn't smile. "Hail," he called. "County's reviewing your lease." Silas waited. "Fence line dispute," the sheriff continued. "Water access. Debt." Paper words, sharp as knives. "You've got 30 days," the sheriff said, "to vacate." Leanne gasped. May said nothing. Silas laughed once, dry. "You ride out here with threats," he said, "after last night." The sheriff's eyes flicked to the broken post, the scorched dirt. "I heard," he said, "and I heard you made it worse." He leaned forward. "Men got hurt. Bank don't like noise." Silas felt it then, the noose tightening. Not today, but soon. The sheriff tipped his hat. 30 days, he repeated, then rode away. Leanne collapsed into a chair, hands over her mouth. May stared at the horizon, calculating. Silas stood between them, a man holding two different endings. "They'll come sooner," May said, "not later." Silas nodded. "They always do." He walked to the fence, touched the wire. "This won't stop them." May stepped closer. "Then we stop them first." Silas turned sharply. "No." May's eyes flashed. "You want to die slow." Silas held her gaze. "I want you alive." That's when the sound came. Hooves. Fast. Too many. No waiting this time. Leanne screamed. "They're back!" Men poured over the ridge. 6, 7. Guns out. No words. Silas shoved Leanne toward the house. "Inside!" She didn't move. Not this time. "I won't hide," she said, voice shaking, solid. Silas didn't argue. No time. May drew, fired. Silas ran. Everything collapsed into noise. Gunfire, wood shattering, horses screaming. Silas tackled one rider. Hammer rose, fell. Blood sprayed. Another man lunged. May went down, hard. Leanne froze, then did the one thing none of them expected. She ran into the open, hands raised. "Stop!" she screamed. Gunfire hesitated, just long enough. A shot cracked. Leanne fell. Silas heard nothing but that sound. The world narrowed. He killed then. Not careful, not restrained. He killed until there were no more men standing. When it ended, bodies lay scattered. Smoke drifted. Silence screamed. Silas crawled to Leanne, blood spreading beneath her, her eyes still open, focused on him. "I didn't want," she whispered, "to be afraid." Silas pressed his hands to the wound. Useless. Useless. "I know," he said, voice breaking. May knelt beside them, face hollow. Leanne smiled faintly. "It's quiet now," she said. Then she was gone. Silas sat in the dirt, hands red, fence standing, house burning, everything paid for. May stood, looked at the bodies, then at Silas. "This ends now," she said. "Not a suggestion, a sentence." They buried Leanne at dusk. No cross, no marker, just earth and stone, and the sound of dirt hitting wood. Silas didn't speak. He hadn't earned words. May stood beside him, still as iron, face empty of tears. She placed the last stone herself, flat, heavy. "She didn't run," May said. "Not pride, not comfort, truth." Silas nodded once. That was all he had left. The bodies were gone by morning, dragged, burned, hidden. No one asked how. The sheriff didn't return. Neither did the bank. Men like that preferred forgetting. The fence still stood, bent, scarred, one post blackened with blood. Silas stared at it for a long time, then took a saw, cut it down, let it fall. May watched, didn't stop him, didn't ask. She understood. The fence hadn't protected anything. It had only told them where to come. They burned the rest, wire popping, cedar snapping, smoke lifted slow. The land took it back without comment. That night the house was quiet. Not the old quiet. This one had weight. Silas sat at the table, hands wrapped in cloth, hammer gone, nothing left to fix. May poured coffee, black, bitter. "You'll leave," she said. Not a question. Silas didn't answer, because he didn't know. "They'll come again," May continued. "Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not together, but they will." Silas stared at the floor. "I won't build another fence," he said. May nodded. "Good." She stood, pulled on her coat. "I'm not staying," she said. Silas looked up then, finally. May met his eyes. "This place eats the soft," she said. "I won't let it finish me." Silas swallowed. "You saved me," he said. May shook her head. "No, she did." At dawn, May rode east, didn't look back. Silas didn't ask her to. Some people survived by leaving. Some survived by staying still. Weeks passed. Then rain came. Hard, violent, the kind that breaks drought. Water soaked the ground, filled the creek, turned dust into mud. The land healed like nothing had happened. Silas watched it from the porch, alone. He didn't rebuild the fence, didn't fix the house, didn't plant. He learned the land without claiming it, moved with it, let it be. Sometimes riders passed. They slowed, saw no boundary, no challenge, and kept going. A place without lines scared them more. At night, Silas still heard Leanne's voice, not crying, not screaming, just asking, "Does it hold?" Silas never answered, because he finally understood. Some things aren't meant to hold. Spring came, green where blood had soaked, life without apology. Silas stood in the field, hands empty, no wire, no hammer, no illusion. And for the first time, he wasn't waiting for the end. He was standing inside it. Out here, the land remembers everything, but it doesn't care who owns it, only who listens. And Silas finally did.